let's get into the giant mailbag.
What crazy thing did City do this week?
It's time for Mattress running the numbers. Ready for the main event?
The main event.
Frequent Miler on the air starts now. Today's main event, 10 tricks for spending fewer points for flights and hotels. And this is the game show edition.
Ooh.
Today, Nick has no idea what we're doing.
Which is basically the way it works on a daily basis. But today we're recording it to make it official.
I came up with 10 tricks for spending fewer points and miles for hotels and airfare. And I put them together as questions to see if Nick can figure out what are these tricks and can he identify. Sometimes I try to get kind of tricky here, so I don't think he's going to have an easy time with this one, but we'll see.
I'm still on my first cup of coffee, Craig, so I'm a little concerned about how this one's going to go.
I'm sorry to hear that, but it's like 10 at night here, so I don't understand why you're just on your first cup of coffee, Nick.
Because I'm all the way on the other side of the world. We're like totally separate right now because we're both traveling, right? So you're somewhere in Europe.
I am. Yeah, I'm in Denmark.
There you go. All right. So I was there just recently. Nice place. Great. But you just got there, I think. So
beautiful. Yeah, I just got here. Yeah. So if I fall asleep in the middle of the show, you should forgive me for that.
And I'm in Alaska where the sun set at like 11 p.m. last night. So I didn't go to bed particularly early. And so it's not actually that early in the morning right now, but it feels it to me anyway.
All right. Enough chit chat. Let's get to the giant mailbag. Today's giant mail comes from, who does it come from, Nick? You've got the giant mail in your hands.
I do. It comes from Aaron Hurd of NerdWallet, who wrote a message to talk about the United Gateway card. So a couple of weeks ago, we talked about must-have Chase cards. And one of the cards that we mentioned was the United Gateway card, because we said that when you have that card, it's got no annual fee and you get access to expanded award availability on United Airlines flights. And we fact-checked that, so to speak, by going through team members and the Frequent Miler team to make sure we found that there was somebody in one of our families who had no elite status and had the Gateway card and still saw the expanded award availability. So we took that to mean that anybody with the Gateway card would see that expanded award availability. But Erin at NerdWallet had dug into this quite a bit because she had run into the same situation, but still some data points of people who weren't able to see the expanded award availability. And so what she had found finally was that if you have a United Gateway card that has been downgraded from an annual fee card, which is the technique that we talked about to get the Gateway card, and probably the only way any of us have ever considered getting the Gateway card, then you will see expanded award availability. However, if the card starts out as a United Gateway card, so that is to say, if you applied for the United Gateway card outright, then it does not see expanded award availability. So I already would say that there was not a good reason to apply for the United Gateway card outright rather than applying for example, the United Mileage Plus Explorer card and then later downgrading it, or the Quest card and then later downgrading it. I would always suggest doing that for a better welcome bonus. But now you have another reason not to apply for the United Gateway card, because if your card starts out as the Gateway, it apparently will not see the expanded award availability. So thank you to Aaron for pointing that out for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. And that's just crazy. So I think that's going to take our crazy segment for this week, because why would they do that to us?
Dang it, United, come on, why you gotta try to make things hard? So all right, so that's our giant mailbag. So that means, I guess, the next thing up we've got today is card talk, right? So what are we talking about in terms of card talk this week, Greg?
Yeah, this week's card talk is a little different. We're not introducing a card overall. We're not going to review a card overall, but rather talk about some changes to a card or a set of cards. The American Express Platinum cards underwent a few changes recently, and they're worth mentioning. For some people who already have the Platinum card and are using it to give authorized user cards to their family so they can get into lounges, the cost to do that has gone way up. It was what, $175 for 3 people.
Yeah.
Now
3 people cost you almost $600, right?
Yeah, $195 each, I believe. And so, yeah, that's ouch. I mean, wow. It's just
Ouchie
such a big
wowie, right? Yeah, that's a
such a big
oh.
increase. So that's a real shame if you were hoping to get, a lot of your family members into lounges. I mean, you can still do it, but it's just gotten so much more expensive. That's um
And
the
when
other
when you pair it with the fact that the lounges now don't have any guests either, right? So like now you're paying $50 a person for additional people to get into the lounge with you. So even if you have some authorized users that used to count on that as a way to get in their spouse or kids or whatever, they can't even do that anymore. So it's going to cost more to get them an authorized user card, and then if you want to get into the Centurion lounges is what I'm talking about there, then
right,
there's a fee.
right.
So yeah, that's ugly.
It really is. Yeah. Um, Another ugly-ish one, depending on where you are with your welcome bonus collection of Amex cards, is the fact that they've added language. It used to be that anyone could sign up for the regular consumer platinum card and the platinum card from Schwab and the platinum card from Morgan Stanley and get welcome bonuses for all three. The business platinum continues to be separate, so you can still get a separate welcome bonus for that. But now what they have is language. Like if you're trying to sign up for the platinum card and you've already had the Morgan Stanley version or the Schwab version, you won't be able to get the welcome bonus for that. Same thing with the Schwab card. We haven't yet seen language like that on the Morgan Stanley card. So there might be possibility for a double dip, but it doesn't seem to be possibility for a triple dip as things stand now.
That's really disappointing because I've never had the Schwab Platinum, and I was kind of waiting it out to see, oh, are they ever going to
Mm,
offer another one of these good, 100K plus 10X type situations on it? Maybe I'll consider getting it then. So I had been holding out, and it seems like I missed my window on the Schwab Platinum, but maybe I'll have to consider the Morgan Stanley.
yeah, yeah. Okay. The last thing this is the one thing that I think of as an improvement. So in Amex's crazy world in the past, you could add authorized users to your platinum card that don't have any special privileges like lounge access or whatever, and adding those authorized users was free. And it's still free. But the problem was they would call those authorized users user cards. Those authorized user cards were called gold cards. And that was just so confusing because the Amex Gold card has all kinds of, particular benefits that this platinum card authorized user gold card didn't have. So do you remember what they're calling the new one?
Yeah.
What they've
Yeah, they
renamed it
clarified
to
it.
now?
The companion platinum card now, Greg.
Yeah.
It's a companion
Right, right.
platinum, which on the one hand, I can appreciate the fact that they tried to disambiguify it, so to speak. That it's not a gold card anymore. But does this really make it clear?
Well, I think it adds a new problem, right?
Yeah.
The new problem is someone shows up at a lounge saying, I've got my platinum card and my companion has their companion platinum card, so let us both in, and that's gonna be confusing for everybody,
Yeah.
because they're not going to be allowed in if the rules are followed correctly. So, but I don't know. To me that's a net win, just because I feel like it was just so confusing before, and they made a similar change on the business platinum side. So now when you add a free authorized user there, it used to be business green card, which conflicted with the name of another business green card. Now it's another like business companion platinum card or something like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. It definitely makes it a little clearer and removes the common question that we get. Oh, if I'm a business green authorized user, can I still get the welcome bonus on the business green card, for instance, or that type of question? Of course you can, but so it does help to clarify a little bit. But I can't help but think that it's even more confusing if you have like actual platinum authorized users and people that aren't platinum authorized users, and like, so what do you call it? So
right, right,
like the
right.
additional platinum versus the companion platinum, that distinction I think becomes another
I
confusing thing for
I
people.
I
So
agree. That's gonna be crazy. They should have called these something like useless authorized user platinum card or something like that. I mean,
useless card. They couldn't get it.
I
Apparently
could see why for
somebody
branding
already had a
reasons they
patent
wouldn't have
on
wanted.
that. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's mostly a bummer. The one, I guess there was one change that I'm not going to call it positive, but there's a change in terms of what you could use the digital entertainment credit on, right? So you'll no longer be able to use it
Oh,
for
yeah, I
Audible,
forgot about that one.
but now you'll be
Hmm.
able to use it for Wall Street Journal, which, just depends on which of those two things you prefer. If you're a Wall Street Journal person, I guess you'll be happy, and if you are an Audible person, you'll be unhappy. So
Yeah, I fall in the unhappy crowd with that one, but that's okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'm more likely to use it for the Wall Street Journal than I was for Audible because I don't usually listen to audiobooks, but more likely in terms of like just slightly more likely and mostly likely to just continue to not use my digital entertainment credits as I haven't.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I
All
think that brings
right.
us to Mattress Running the Numbers, right? So this week's Mattress Running the Numbers. You can stand up to cancer
Yes.
and earn a whole bunch of points.
Yes, yes. American Airlines will let you earn 25 miles per dollar when you donate to Stand Up for Cancer, or 50 points per dollar if you do that donation with your American Airlines card. So that sounds fantastic, right? I mean, 50 miles per dollar,
No,
and you donate to charity and get your charitable tax credit or rebate, whatever it's called.
you know,
Why
no,
why is
no,
this not great?
No, it's not fantastic. I mean, I'm not going to say it's bad. If you wanted to donate to Stand Up to Cancer, then hey, great, you get some miles along with it. But no, it's not fantastic for a few reasons. So number one is that you're paying essentially, if you just look at it as buying the miles, you're paying just under 2 cents a mile is the way it works out with the 50x. So you'll end up
Right.
paying a little bit less than 2 cents per mile, because you have to do this with your American Airlines MasterCard. So you'll also earn points on that spend. So that's how I'm coming to the conclusion of just under 2 cents per mile, which
Mhm.
is a price where I'm not really a buyer of American
Yeah.
Airlines miles. That's not cheap enough to entice me.
No. No.
So there's
And
that.
especially since it doesn't include loyalty points. And so except for the amount you spend on your card itself, that 1x earns loyalty points, but yeah, the rest does not. So that's nah.
That's the biggest thing I think that I say, oh, well, I'm not even going to earn elite status out of that. So that interests me far less. And then if you were looking at this and saying, oh, well, I can donate to a good cause and get a tax deduction, well, not necessarily either, because it says for charitable purposes, each mile is being valued at 3 cents per mile, which means that, for instance, if you donated $1,000, then you're basically going to be marked
You're
as
gonna
receiving $1,500 in value, right?
you're
You'd owe
gonna
taxes, right?
you're gonna owe extra taxes. It almost seems like that. I don't know how that would shake out. I kind of
I don't
doubt.
either.
I don't think
I
you'd have
don't
to
think
pay
you'd.
more
I
taxes,
don't think
but
you'd have
you're
to pay
certainly
more.
not going to get your tax deductions.
I
So,
think
and
that's a
deduction, that's the
message.
word I was
Yeah.
trying to think of earlier, and
Yes.
it just wouldn't come to me. As I said, I'm tired.
Right.
I just got to Europe today and didn't sleep all that much overnight.
Uh,
Okay,
but he's still here.
so
He's still here with us. So yeah. So that's not a deal to do for just the miles. And I didn't know. I learned from Tim's post that Stand Up to Cancer is a division of the Entertainment Industry Foundation, and I don't know anything about the Entertainment Industry Foundation, but I guess I would want to do more research and know more about that also. So there's just a lot
yeah,
of reasons that this isn't necessarily a fantastic deal unless you already wanted to donate money to that organization specifically. Then obviously, great, get some miles along with it. And we're not saying don't donate. We're just saying don't donate if all you wanted was the miles, because it's probably not worth it.
it's not a great way of earning miles. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if that's all you want. Yep.
All right.
All
That brings
right.
us to award talk. What's up in award talk this week, Greg?
Yeah, we've got a couple things going on. IHG, you'll remember that when they revamped their elite program a while back, they made it possible to get suite upgrades. And the nice thing there is like IHG, you could get a suite upgrade with as few as 20 nights stayed at IHG hotels within a year, which is way fewer than Marriott and Hyatt's suite upgrade options. So that's great, but until now, you couldn't apply those on award stays. And the great news is now you can. They said from the beginning that they were working on it and it would be available eventually, and now it is. So I really have to say, I think IHG has done a really terrific job of rolling out this new program. I mean, I say that from the point of view of we've been through these kind of like program overhauls in the past, and they usually do not go well.
Right.
Usually there's a lot of problems, and I'm sure there have been some, but overall they did such a gigantic overhaul of their elite program, and to pull it off as well as they did is really, really tremendous.
Well, and to meet the promises they've made, along the way, when they've said that something
Mm-hmm.
is going to happen, it's happened. So that's been really nice because it doesn't always happen that way, or a lot of times it'll go a lot more slowly than you expect. And then obviously the availability to use these suite upgrades on award stays, or the ability to do that rather, it was a little slower than we might like, but they didn't promise it to happen quickly. They just promised they were working on it, and sure enough, it's come
Mm-hmm.
true. So I give credit to IHG. I mean, they've certainly become a player in this entire game in a way that they just weren't 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, they were kind of an afterthought. It was great if your employer is spending all the money on your hotel stays and you just want to earn a lot of points, and IHG made sense. But now IHG makes sense not only for that, but also if you want good elite benefits. I mean, I think it's a great program for somebody who doesn't stay a ton of nights, because what do you need, 20 nights to get the suite upgrades, the first suite upgrade award? So
I believe that's it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So, and then you could get another one. I think it was at 40 nights. So,
yeah.
yeah. Good program there.
Yep.
Okay. So I believe Finnair had some news as well. What's going on with them?
Finnair is joining Avios. So we got another program under the Avios umbrella all of a sudden. So they will join British Airways, Aer Lingus, Iberia, and Qatar Airways. Now we've got Finnair as well going to use the Avios program. So I don't know what British Airways is doing, what IAG is doing to sell everybody on their award program, but apparently Finnair has decided that that's going to be the best for them moving forward. So I mean, that is mildly good news on its own, because Finnair's program didn't really seem to have many sweet spots in terms of, award bookings. So there wasn't a lot to do there, even though you could transfer to them from some card programs. But so that'll improve a little bit. The bigger news here is that they've committed to make a number of award seats available on their own flights. What was it? 8 seats in business class or something like that. It was or maybe that was economy.
I don't know.
Business
I
was
don't
probably
know,
fewer.
but
It was quite a few. Maybe it was 4 in business and 8 in economy, but it was quite a bit of availability. It'd be a huge change over the current Finnair award availability scheme, because right now it can be really hard to find award seats on Finnair. Maybe you'll get 1 or 2 here and there, but it sounds like they're committing to release a bunch of seats on every flight.
yeah, I think this is really good news. I mean, for most of us, people who were like already into Finnair and earning elite status and stuff, I think there were some downsides to
Right.
all of this, but for most of us who get our points usually by transferring from transferable points currencies, now you'll be able to transfer from any of the big transferable points currencies to, for example, British Airways and then to Finnair. So it just opens up all kinds of possibilities that we didn't have before. That's good news, and maybe we will see. Hopefully, we will a lot more award availability, and that's always great.
So I
So
take
yeah.
that back on the numbers that I said. So it's at least 4 economy, 2 premium economy, and at least 2 business class seats available on the flights between Europe and North America, and their other long haul to Asia and Dubai. But that's a huge improvement over where they've been, and that's something that I think carries over from the other Avios programs, right? Because British Airways at some point had committed to making X number of seats available on every flight, and so it's great to see that expand. So, like you said, I think for most people listening to this show, that's going to be a net win. There obviously will be some people that it won't be, but the vast majority of us, that's a win. So I like it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Do you happen to remember when that
Yes,
happens, or did they
early
say?
20, no, yep, early 2024. So do I know exactly
Okay.
when? No, but sometime in the first, I would assume maybe the first quarter of 2024. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if it happens shortly after the new year begins, or whenever the award program year begins with British Airways. And I don't know what day that is, but I would not be surprised if it coincides.
All right, cool. Well, Are you ready for the main event?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Do I get to phone a friend?
We will, if needed, give you some opportunities to ask for clues. So the main event today, 10 tricks for spending fewer points for flights and hotels. And this main event this week is in the form of a game show where Nick is going to try to earn enough points to win the game. Now, here's how it works. There are 10 questions. Each question is worth 10,000 points. Nick has to win a total of 75,000 points or more to win this game. So
that's a
that
lot
means
out of that's
if
like
you
eight. What I need eight. I need
you
eight.
need if you could nail 8 totally, or you could get some partials.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Whew.
And
Pressure is on here.
I will mention that there is a bonus question at the end that might give you a chance to get a few more points just in case.
All right, I'll try not to
So,
rely on that, but no guarantees.
Nick just wiped the sweat from his brow for you listeners out there. That was that sound of the splat. All right. We're going to start relatively easy. First up, we know that those people who have the Chase Sapphire Reserve card can get 1.5 cents per point value by booking travel through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal.
Mm-hmm.
How could people who are into points get 1.5 cents per point value for travel booked directly with travel providers as opposed to through a portal?
Well,
D, 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 D. Better not compromise any copywritten material here, but go ahead.
I was trying to do something for the video folks here and be like, what is the altitude? No, I can't even do it on my watch here. What is the altitude reserve card from US Bank? You can use their real-time mobile rewards. Now, that's not going to work with every travel provider on earth, but with US-based ones anyway, you can pay with your altitude reserve card, and then if you have enough points to cover the charge, you'll receive a tag, and if it meets the thresholds for what you can minimum amounts to spend, then you'll receive a text message that tells you that you can redeem or asks you if you'd like to redeem your points for that. Now, I'm a relatively new altitude reserve card holder, so I have to ask you a question, Greg. Do you have to enroll in that, or does that just automatically happen?
You do have to enroll in it. Yes. Somewhere deep in the bowels of the US Bank website, there's an option to enroll in real-time mobile rewards. So do that for
right.
Sure.
Okay, good. That's been exciting though. In fact, we were at a restaurant yesterday in Alaska, and I went to pay, and they actually brought the credit card reader over like they do in Europe. And I had a card out because I assumed I was going to have to give it to them and they were going to take it away. And then she brought the card reader over, and I was like, "Ooh, no, hang on a second. Well, let me pull out my watch because I want to use the altitude reserve." And of course, my wife popped in and she said, "I have my gold card. Wouldn't that be better?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but we got a lot of Amex membership rewards points, so I'm pretty happy now with the altitude reserve because I'll use these points for car rentals and things like that in the future."
Right. And because you're getting 3 points per dollar for mobile payments, you're getting in total 4.5% back towards travel because of the ability to use points for 1.5 cents per point value each. So nice deal.
All right. So I got 10,000 points.
All right. You've got 10,000 points. That was a correct answer. Okay. Moving on to the next question. How can a person get 2 cents per point value when buying flights with American Express membership rewards points? How can they get 2 cents per point value?
2 cents per point value. 2 cents per point value?
Yeah. Nick might be stumped here.
So if you're using your Amex membership rewards points and 2 cents, what are we talking about here? 2 cents. So I'm confused because I'm thinking, of course, first of the business platinum card and the 35% rebate that you can get when you use points for your chosen airline or any airline in business or first class. But that only works out to be just over 1.5 cents per point. So that's not what we're talking about here. So you've stumped me, I think, on question two. Wow. Do I need
Do
to
you
phone a
want it? Do you
friend?
want it?
Do I get a lifeline
Do you,
here?
do you want to get a tip,
I'll take a tip. I'll
a
take a
hint?
hint.
Do you
I'll
want a
take a hint.
hint?
Yes.
So the hint will reduce the value of the this question to 5K
I
if I
mean,
give you a tip.
you got to do what you got to do. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
right now it's worth
all
zero.
right.
Okay.
All right. Here's a tip. You were on the right track with the Business Platinum card, but there is a more expensive card in Amex's portfolio than the Business Platinum card.
Oh, this is a
That's the
Centurion
tip.
card, a black card perk apparently. So you just need to pay the initiation fee of what is it, $2,500 or something, or 70? I don't even know what it is anymore. So you have to get invited to get the Amex Centurion card. Then you have to pay the initiation fee, and then maybe you can get yourself 2 cents per point. Apparently, who would have known? So
But
there you go.
and so that's all correct, except it has to be my understanding, it has to be the business version of the
Oh,
Centurion Black Card.
oh my goodness, I can't even get 5,000 points for that, can I? The business version of this. Who
So,
knows about the Centurion card? Come on, Craig. Yeah, how about you just break out your Centurion card and show everybody right now?
right. Yeah, I don't have such a thing. I'm going to give you 2.5K points for that
Oh,
one, just for
oh,
getting really close after
ooh,
the thing. So
okay.
sorry
All
there,
right,
Nick.
all right.
Right. Moving on. Can you describe two tricks that guarantee lower award flight prices by flying further?
Okay, two tricks to get a lower price by flying further. This one I can probably handle. So one is to book through Avianca Life Miles and to have a mixed cabin award. So that's actually both of them are going to be mixed cabin awards. But first up, Avianca Life Miles. If you book an award that is, for instance, mostly in business class, but then also has an economy class leg, it will cost less than if you had just a business class flight. So, for instance, if you wanted to fly from New York to Paris in business class on United, it would cost 63,000 miles one way. But if you flew New York to Paris and then on to Istanbul, from Paris to Istanbul in economy class, then you would pay less than 63,000 miles, quite a bit less probably, because Paris to Istanbul is quite a long distance. So Avianca calculates the price essentially based on the percentage of the flight that is flown in each cabin, based on the price to fly from the origin to destination in that cabin. So you'll pay, if you were, just keep it simple, if it was 50-50, if New York to Paris was half the distance and Paris to Istanbul was half the distance of the overall award, you'd pay 50% of the business class price and 50% of the economy class price, which works out to be less than the business class price. So that's
That
one
is
way.
correct.
All right.
That's one way.
And the other program that does that is Asia Miles, Cathay Pacific Asia Miles, where you'll also run into that situation where if you have a connecting flight in a lower cabin, you'll pay something less than the cost of flying it all in the higher cabins. So again, if you can add on a long economy class leg at the end, you'll pay less than the business or first class price.
Yeah, I think we do need a condition there where which remember that Cathay has a distance-based award chart. Um, so adding
So you need to stay underneath the distance band, is what Greg is getting at. So adding a flight that keeps you within the distance band, that doesn't break into the next distance band, will reduce the price. And that's of course for their own flights also, right? I don't think that is valid for partner flights. I don't think.
yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, good, good,
I'll,
good. That ought to give me some bonus points.
I'll give you the 10K
Okay,
for
get the
that
10K. All
question.
right. All right,
All
good.
right. Um, all right, let's see. Okay. So we know that British Airways tends to offer a lot of award availability, but they also offer very high surcharges that get passed on. Um, so that can really dampen our enthusiasm for finding all those award seats available. Describe two tricks, no, three
Oh,
three ways
I had two right off the top.
to get lower surcharges when flying British Airways.
All right, so three ways to get lower surcharges. Number one with British Airways is to use Cathay Pacific Asia Miles, because they charge fewer in award surcharges than British Airways does, or other One World programs do. So you'll pay quite a bit less if you book through Cathay Pacific Asia Miles. So that's number one. And oftentimes the price is reasonable too. I mean, a lot of Europe is 61,000 miles to the East Coast. So it's a reasonable award cost and many fewer dollars added on. So that's number one. Number two would be to originate in Europe somewhere other than London. And when you connect through London, I just recently wrote about doing this, Brussels to London to Vancouver, then the surcharges are significantly less. So rather than the, I don't know, $800 in surcharges you'd pay if you started that award I just mentioned in London, from Brussels, it was only $340 in surcharges and taxes. So, and probably at least 100 of that was taxes anyway. So probably 250-ish in surcharges, which is not awful. So that's technique number two. Technique number three is to just not buy an award ticket, buy a cash ticket, and then you won't pay any surcharges at all. It's all rolled in there.
I am not going to accept that answer because I said three ways that for booking award that have lower surcharges.
Okay, so those were two. The third one,
I know Qatar, two more.
We're talking about booking through Qatar Airways, so that you but I think they made that the same, didn't they? So that's not true either. I mean, does booking Iberia through Iberia count? No, because that's not a British Airways award, so that's not reducing the British Airways fees. So I need to phone a friend again. I can't think of a third way. Those are the two ways I would reduce the taxes and fees. What am I missing, Greg?
All right. Well, so rather than give you a hint here, I'm gonna tell you three ways that okay. I can think of. One is British Airways now lets you pay more Avios to have lower surcharges.
Right? They do. So okay, go ahead.
Well, number two, the British Airways credit card from Chase will give you a rebate once a year or twice a year, depending on him. Number three, you could fly British Airways economy, and the surcharges are much, much less than business class.
True.
Still flying British Airways.
All right. True. No, those are all good. And the more obvious thing is potentially a pretty good deal if you hit a good transfer bonus, maybe, because I think East Coast so for instance, New York to London, I think is 57.5 or something like that, plus lots of surcharges, or 80,000 with no surcharges, really just the taxes. So it's not necessarily a bad deal. It'll save you quite a bit of money. So I think it's actually probably a better deal in a lot of cases. That's in off-peak times, I think. I can't recall the off-peak versus peak, but you can do pretty well. So yeah, that was a good technique that I should have remembered. And the credit card is one that certainly counts, but I never came to mind because I've never considered the card seriously. But that is definitely one of the benefits and one that could make sense for you.
Yeah. How many points do you think you deserve for getting 2 out of 3?
I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I learned that from Meatloaf years ago. So
that's right.
I think I should get at least 7,200 points. No,
7,200.
Well, I don't know. I'm just making numbers up here.
All right, I'm going to give you 7K points for that.
I should have gone for like 77, so you'd round up.
Well, I thought you'd do 7.5, so that the 2.5 you earned earlier would round up to 100.
Yeah,
to 10K.
You could have done.
Yeah, I could have, but no. I guess I wasn't feeling generous enough.
Okay.
All right. So we're very close. You're very close anyway to being like on track with sort of as you're 4 questions down, and you have sort of very close to the equivalent of 3 right answers.
Okay.
4, right?
All
right. So moving on.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think you're going to get this one. How is it possible to fly within Europe for as few as 4,000 points one way?
4,000 points. My goodness. What would it be? No, yeah. See, Greg is right. If you use Virgin Atlantic to fly on Air France or KLM, you can fly for as few as 4,000 points one way. And also they have a partnership with ITA. I'm not sure if ITA is as low as 4,000 or not, but you'd have to take a look and see. It's going to be a semi-distance space chart. And I say semi because it's a little weird. Greg wrote quite a bit about how that works in terms of if the distance between your origin and destination city is pretty short, even if your connection makes it longer, you'll still pay less. So I'll leave a link in the description. By the way, everything we've been talking about, I'll leave links in the description to give you more information. I should have said that before, because booking with Iberia, or rather, I'm sorry, booking with Avianca Life Miles to pay less. So we say mixed cabin awards, first class for less. We have a post about that. We have a post about using Asia Miles to, again, fly first class for less. So there'll be posts linked in the description to these things that Greg is quizzing me on. And I say that not knowing what's coming next, but I'm pretty sure we probably have a post written about whatever these tricks are. So you'll have a link to this one also there. But I think I get the points for that.
You do. You get full points for this one. Plus, I'm going to give you a opportunity to get 2,500 bonus points if you could tell me. So when you use Virgin Miles to book KLM or Air France, it'll cost 4,000 points in standard season when it's under a certain number of miles. How many miles does that flight have to be under?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to have to make up a number here and hope, aren't I? I'm going to say it has to be under 600 miles.
Oh my goodness. That's exactly it.
Oh, yes. Woo, woo, woo. All right.
You got a bonus 2,500.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Nice. Wow. Very nice. Good job with that.
I imagine that number being in the post you wrote about it, but hey, I'll take it.
You know, it's funny. When I was writing this question down, I was thinking in my head it was 500 miles because some other programs use 500 as a threshold for these short hops. But yeah, I looked it up. It was
Cheers,
600.
Atlantic. Well done. Well played.
All right. Now I've got maybe the hardest one of all.
Ooh.
I don't think we've written about this one.
Uh-oh. There's no link.
So I'm gonna give you 20,000 points if you get this one right.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think you're going to.
Well, that's little things we share right there.
I'm hopeful though.
Okay.
All right. So you know that United recently raised their business class award prices to go to Europe, especially on partners. How can you fly business class across the Atlantic Ocean for 55,000 United miles? And you can do that today.
Okay. So this question is interesting because they raised their business class prices. And so now a partner award costs something like 88,000 miles. A United award on its own metal used to cost 60. And so now you're telling me 55. So there's got to be a something there that I didn't know about before. I mean, the only thing that comes to mind initially would be, interesting. The only thing that initially came to my mind would be web special type things that United sometimes charges less. But I don't think that you would put in a question about the fact that United might sometimes you get lucky and they charge a little bit less. So I don't think that's it. So my other thing that just popped into my mind is that a price to upgrade an economy ticket somehow? I never look at upgrades, so I'm wondering if that's an upgrade price. So that
would be clever, but
no?
That's not it.
Oh, man.
I will give you a hint and reduce the value of this to 10K.
Okay.
Think about flying not from North America and not to Europe.
Yeah. Okay. So you did say across the Atlantic, and that did seem oddly specific to me. So I guess you must be talking about not from North America. That's interesting. From South America to Africa is what we're talking about across the Atlantic. That doesn't make any sense. 55K United miles. Is that really what they charge for that?
So that's what I'm seeing from Sao Paulo to Johannesburg, for example, or to Cape Town.
Really?
And you could even fly onward to like Addis
wow.
And 55K.
55K. Interesting. And so is that flying on their partners also or only on United metal?
It is none of it's United metal. It's all partners.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know that United has a flight.
Well, they don't.
Direction.
Is there so who flies?
So South African Airways, I guess, still flies that. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Or at least United's still willing
To
to
sell
book
you
it,
that
whether or
ticket,
not they're
right?
whether or not
Whether it's actually being operated, they'll sell you the ticket. Yeah, I don't know that that seems a little suspect to me, because I felt like South African Airways, it didn't shut down, but it almost shut down, right? So I find it surprising if they're still operating a flight on that route. But hey, apparently United thinks they are. So
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. All right. I think since I had to handhold you so far in that one, I'm just going to give you 5K points for
Okay.
that
All
after
right. All right. I'm
At
surprised
least
I
you
got
got
that many.
something,
I'll
right?
take that. I'll take that.
But as I started out, I knew it was very
Yeah.
unlikely.
Very unlikely.
All right. Now, we were all talking about flights from before.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to talk lodging.
Okay, this has got to be easier, right?
Yes. Well, some. All right. First question. Name 3 ways to pay for a regular room award, but confirm a suite instead.
All right, 3 ways to pay for a regular room award, but confirm a suite instead. So number one, we talked about during our award talk segment in this week's show. We talked about the fact that IHG now allows you to apply their suite upgrade awards on awards days. Now, I think they only confirm the suite 14 days in advance, so it's not the best ever, but it's a way that you could get yourself a suite paying for a regular room. So
Absolutely.
There's one. Two would be Marriott. If you earn 50 elite nights in a year, then you get a choice benefit, and one of your choice benefits could be suite night awards, and so you'd get 5 suite night awards. So again, you could pay for a regular award and apply a suite night award. Now those are a little bit more limited because you need to have one for every night of your stay. So if you had 3 suite night awards in your account and a 4-night stay, you're not going to be able to apply 3 to 3 of the nights. So it's kind of a pain, and they don't confirm those until 5 days in advance of arrival at most. And anybody who's ever tried to use them knows that doesn't always happen either. So they're very hit or miss, but that's another way you could potentially anyway. And I have certainly.
Absolutely. Still counts.
That.
Yep.
Okay. And then third would be Hyatt. If you hit 50 elite nights with Hyatt in a year, you get 2 suite upgrade awards. Those are awesome because you can apply those at the time of booking. So as long as there's a standard suite available, you book a regular room and apply one of those suite upgrade awards at the time of booking for a stay of up to 7 nights. So you get 2 of those at 50 elite nights and 2 more at 60 elite nights. So that's a fantastic benefit because it could save you a ton of points and get you an awesome suite in some places.
All right. Very good. You get 10K points for that one. And now I had a 4th one in mind, which is not an upgrade, not using an upgrade instrument or anything like that. How else? This will be a bonus 2,500 points if you can get this.
Well, the other way then would be booking Hyatt Premium Suite or Suite Awards directly through Hyatt with points. So Hyatt offers their suites with points. Is that not? No, you're thinking something else.
No, because
you said a standard
you're paying
award
for a regular. You're
Yeah,
paying for a
gotcha.
standard. You're paying the price for a standard room.
Okay, I see. So you're talking about choice privileges then, because choice privileges offers oftentimes any room for the cost of a standard room. I shouldn't even say oftentimes, many times in many places, you can pay the same price for a regular room or a suite in terms of the number of points. But you can only book 100 days in advance with choice privileges. So that's a downside.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, I predict they will change that soon, but we'll see. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just thinking that,
we can help.
It's such a crazy rule.
It is a crazy rule.
We can hope. Yeah, I'm just being hopeful. Okay, ready for a really crazy one?
I am.
All right. What type of lodging would cost me 67,500 points per night?
67,500 points per night. No, I was going to say a Hilton property that because they're dynamically priced, but they wouldn't do that. And I know what you're going to say, but the other thing that came to mind initially that I know isn't it either is that well, no, wait, that just totally went out of my mind. So I think what you're talking about is a Vacasa vacation rental, and how many bedrooms would it have to be? 13, 5, 4, 5. I don't know how many bedrooms it'd have to be. 5 bedrooms times 13, 5, 15. Yeah, 5 bedrooms, right? A 5-bedroom Vacasa vacation rental would cost 67,500 points per night. And that's if
under what condition? Okay, there you go.
I'm getting there. Slow down. Slow
You
down,
are,
Greg the
you are.
Frequent Miler. I know my Vacasa. Okay, let's back up a little bit for somebody who's absolutely new. So Wyndham Rewards has a partnership with Vacasa Vacation Rentals where you can pay 15,000 points per bedroom per night for Vacasa Vacation Rentals. And there are some limits there. We think of up to $500, or we're very pretty sure up to $500 per bedroom per night, all included with all the fees and all the rest of that. So by and large, most Vacasa properties anyway, you'll be able to book at 15,000 points per bedroom per night. But if you've got a Wyndham credit card, one of the Wyndham Earner credit cards, so the Wyndham Earner business card, for instance, then you get a 10% discount on award stays, including these Vacasa vacation rentals. And it's nice because it's not a rebate, but rather a discount. So you don't need to have the extra points initially and get some rebate back. You just get a 10% discount right off the bat. So instead of paying 75,000 points for a 5-bedroom property, you'd pay 67,500 points.
Yeah, you nailed that one. Good job. That was great. I thought that would be hard because it seemed like such a random number out of nowhere.
Well, it helps that I'm recording this episode from a 4-bedroom Vacasa vacation rental. So
that does help.
So that made it a little bit easier for me.
That's awesome. All right. So I had this 67.5 number stuck in my head. So I'm going to ask you another question about that number. How could one pay on average 67.5% of the original award price for hotel lodging?
On average, 60 says, so you're talking about on average getting 22.5%. No, I'm sorry. Boy, that was horrible math. 32.5% back on, so I pay an average cost. Read me the question one more time.
I mean, you're on the right track. It was a weird way of saying, how can you get 32.5% off the award price of hotel lodging?
Of hotel lodging, how could you get 32.5% off of the award price of hotel lodging? You buy points on sale, transfer bonus. I don't know where we're going with this. I am totally lost, Greg the Frequent Miler. I need to phone a friend here. Or
all right, we're gonna drop the value to 5K.
Okay.
You need 2 credit cards to make this happen.
Yeah, okay.
That's the hint. You need 2 credit cards to make this happen.
So you need 2 credit cards to save 32.5% on awards. Okay, I see. It took me longer than it should have there. So what Greg is talking about is that if you have the current IHG Premier card, then you get the 4th night free on award stays. So that would drop your award cost to by 25%. So you would pay 25%
on
less on average with 4-night stays.
That's why I use that expression, because it really depends on the 4th night, how much that costs.
Right. And then if you also have the old IHG card that you can't get anymore, and if you have that old IHG card, now you can't get the IHG Traveler if you don't already have both, then you'd have to drop your old one, I think. I don't think you can get the new one. So you'd have to be in the situation where you already have those 2 cards. And if you are in that situation, then you also get a 10% rebate on your award stays with the old IHG card. So because the way the math would work out on the 10%, it doesn't add, it's not additive to the 25. It turns out to be like 32.5. So I should have gotten that.
Very, 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 very good. All right. We're coming into our 10th question. So let me, before we get to it, add up how many points you have.
Man, tally it up. I haven't paid attention.
So, all right. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 10K answers. Okay. So that's 50K off the bat right there.
2/3 of the way there.
You've got 2 5Ks. Okay. So we're at what, 60K total, right?
Yeah.
You've got 3 2.5Ks. Ooh. So we're now at what, 67.5K?
Yeah.
And then you got 1 7K. So now we're at 74.5. Oh, my goodness. Did I add that right?
Wow, that would be just short. just short with one question to go. So that puts a lot of pressure on this
Oh my gosh,
question.
that point five
What are the
really
chances?
hurts, doesn't
Right.
it?
If I had only asked for
But
7.5.
now remember, there is a bonus question
Right.
afterwards,
Right.
so
Right.
there will be a chance. You will
Okay.
have a chance.
Oh, so we're
All
already
right.
predicting that there's no
I'm
chance of me getting this one right, apparently.
well, no, because
Yes. I
don't
need
you
just one
need
more, right?
over 10? Don't you need over 10K?
No, you said
Because
I
didn't we
needed,
calculate?
I thought you said I needed 75K to win.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Right. You just need to get this
All I
right
need
at
is
all.
this. That's
You're
it.
right. I was thinking 85K. Right.
Uh,
No, you're right.
okay.
But it takes away. All right. Takes it makes sense.
It's not my
I
fault you
thought you
didn't know
had
where
to.
the
I thought
points,
you had
right?
to nail this one plus get the bonus,
Right,
but
right.
that's not the
No,
case. You just Nick just has to get this one right, and then he can go home, retire for
all
the rest
right,
of the
let's
night.
see. I'm
All
ready for the mic
right.
drop.
All right. How could one pay 55% fewer points than advertised for a hotel award cost? 55%
Greg with all this math at first
fewer.
thing in the morning. My goodness. I said I had one cup of coffee. It's 55% fewer. Wait, say it again one more time.
All right. So, given that a hotel
Yeah.
award price has
Yeah.
a
Right.
price, right?
Of course.
And you want to and it has a price in points.
Right.
You want to pay 55% fewer points
Right.
than that amount.
Uh-huh.
How can you do that?
Stay at a different hotel.
not
No.
not what I'm going for
Okay.
here.
All right. Go at a different time if it's a Marriott. So you want to pay 55% fewer points than the advertised price. So you would like to pay 45% of the advertised price. Then you would need to.
I'm gonna throw in a little hint, I think. Well, no.
Okay.
Do you want to?
No, yeah,
Do
I'm.
I mean, you only need like 500
I know,
points,
I know.
so I
So
could drop.
yeah, yeah.
We could drop it to
We
5K.
could drop it to a 5K. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll take the hint. I can't think of it. I'm
All right.
stumped.
It doesn't have to be the original points. So you could be using fewer of a different type of
Oh,
points
oh.
to get there.
All right. Okay. So I was on the wrong track totally. So what Greg is talking about here then, I assume, is finding a property like, for instance, through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal where you can use points at 1.5 cents per point to book. So you may find a hotel, for instance, that costs, I don't know, let's try and keep the math simple, that costs 20,000 points per night as an award, but you look it up and you find, oh, wow, it's only $100 a night for that hotel. So I only need to use 7,500 points per night to book it through the Chase Ultimate Rewards portal. That's not what you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
Because this is straight up math. This is predictable.
Predictable
55%.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
A predictable 50. So
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same
Yeah.
type of points. You can use fewer points to stay in that same type of lodging.
Do you want another hint to drop the value of this question down to 1K?
Oh my goodness. I guess I need another one. Yes.
All right. All right. To make this one work, you need 2 credit cards, and it's
Again,
not the 2 we talked about before.
Yes, right. Of course it's not. So you need 2 credit cards and they play together somehow to save you points on the stay net overall, but they're not necessarily the same sets of points. So you're talking about some sort of a rebate, lodging, Hilton cards. I can't think how those would really help. No, we talked about a bunch of other things already. I'm gonna have to like punt to the bonus question here. Oh my goodness, I don't
no.
know. I'm stumped.
All right. So the answer is you have your City Premier card.
Okay.
You transfer 1 to 2 to choice.
Okay.
And you also have a Rewards Plus card, which gives you a 10% rebate. And so you start off with 50% and then the 10% rebate, and you end up with paying 45%.
Oh, that is a great technique. So 45%. So for clarity, so I'm paying 45% of the award cost in terms of the number of city points that you need to book the
That's
award,
right.
because you get double the points when you transfer over to choice privileges. So how did I miss
Right,
that?
right.
Oh my goodness. That's I
I don't
let me
know.
let me let
It's
me
so
hide. Let
obvious.
me hide here in my hoodie. Shame. For those of you listening, you can't see me pulling my hoodie
It's
down
one of
over
those
my
like sort
eyes.
of extreme ninja tricks that
Oh my
like
goodness.
how could you expect anyone to know that? But yeah,
Uh,
unfortunately,
well, you can expect the guy that you
zero
pay to know
K for
about
that
these things
one.
to know about them, but uh, yeah.
It was I no, it was tough. All right,
Okay.
final bonus round.
All right.
This one is worth, I don't know, it's worth, I guess, I'm gonna call it 1,000 points.
1,000 points.
Um,
I better not need to phone a friend. Oh.
what are Delta miles worth if you use them in a Delta Sky Club to pay for a premium drink?
Oh, I was thinking they're worth 1 cent per point. I'm gonna go with 1 cent per. I think it used to be more, but I think it's now 1 cent per point.
Oh,
No.
no, Nick,
Oh,
no. They
oh,
used to be 2 cents per point. They're now 1.5.
1.5. Oh man. Oh, I lost the
Oh,
game. Oh, there it
oh,
goes.
man.
Oh,
Well,
swing and
all
a
right.
miss.
So Nick did not win. And the grand prize, I didn't even tell him, was that he was going to be able to get a dream job where he can talk and write about whatever hobby he's most passionate about, but I'm afraid we can't award that to him.
Oh my goodness.
I hope
And it's funny because my 2-year-old son yesterday was unhappy with me and he told me I'm fired. And I said, I'm going to have to look for a new job then. So,
you're fired in the dad
oh
job.
man. Yes, yes, yes. I got fired from the dad.
No,
Yeah.
no, we are not
Okay.
firing
Whew.
Nick.
All
No,
right.
not at all. But I hope anyone who is playing along at home is
Better at this
jumping
game.
around, dancing around because they won, and but don't have any proof, unfortunately. Sorry
uh,
about that.
yeah.
But I still think Nick did a tremendous job and got some really really hard questions right.
Tremendous might be a stretch,
But
but okay. All right.
I can't believe it came down to 500
It
points.
did. It came
That's
down to
just
500. Yeah.
unbelievable. After the show, I'm going to re-add these up just to make sure, and then maybe next week we can come on and say if that was really the answer. But
Okay, all right. So unfortunately, that concludes today's main event. But fortunately, that brings us to this week's question of the week. And so our question of the week this week should be a layup for Greg. It's a layup, Greg. So you gave me all these hard questions. Gonna
but
give
you're
you a
giving me
layup.
an
I'm
easy
gonna
one.
make it
Great.
easy
I'm
for
glad
you.
to hear it.
Yes. All right. So it's a question about hotels/Airbnb for families. We get a question like this quite often, and Josh in Seattle wrote in this week and said, I haven't seen this covered much, so I thought I'd ask here. I now find myself traveling with my wife and 2 young kids, 1 and 2.5, and sometimes our au pair. This has made hotels much less appealing and Airbnb much more so. The main issue is that I don't have a good way of booking Airbnbs with points. What, if any, are the best ways to do so? Not talking about buying Amazon/Airbnb gift cards with the incur at 5x, etc. More interested in not feeling like I'm paying a ton of money to stay somewhere. On the flip side, how would you effectively book 2 rooms at a reasonable rate? I've done it with Hyatt occasionally, but it still adds up, and I don't have Globalist anymore. Sorry for the long one. So, thanks in advance, Josh. Josh wants to know how he can save on lodging for 4 or 5 people.
So I can't believe Josh hasn't heard us talk about Vacasa vacation rentals, but I mean that's the obvious answer is get some Wyndham points, and there's lots of ways of getting them, including being able to transfer from City or Capital One to Wyndham 1-to-1, buy them for slightly under 1 cent per point when they're on sale. Get the Wyndham Business Earner Card and get all kinds of great benefits with that card and plus the welcome bonus. And then you can book a Vacasa vacation rental for 15,000 points per night per bedroom. And you get a 10% discount if you have that a Wyndham Earner Card as well. And there are some terrific properties. Now, that doesn't fully answer Josh's question because Vacasa is plentiful in certain places, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to spend time in Hawaii, it's great. If certain places in like Tennessee and North Carolina and California, it's great, but it's just not everywhere. Um, but that's the best answer I have for what he's talking about, I think, that I can think of.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's that I think that's the best answer is Vicasa, but it's not a great answer because if you want to go to Europe, for instance, that's not going to do you any
Yeah,
good. Although Wyndham does have
right,
a partnership with cottages.com, but that's only going to be in the UK. So
right.
there's limited availability there too. So same kind of thing, 15,000 points per bedroom per night, which is great if you'd like to go to the UK and you find a place on cottages.com, but otherwise kind of limited use there. So the other thing, so here's a question for you, and I don't know the answer, and I should have looked it up, but I didn't. So I'm going to hope that you just know it off the top of your head. U.S. Bank mobile real time mobile rewards, can those be used for Airbnb?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay, so
Maybe.
you have to check. I'll link to the U.S.
Yeah,
Bank real time mobile rewards data points in terms of what works. So my question there is, can you pay for an Airbnb with your altitude reserve card and then apply points at 1.5 cents per point? I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head, so I'm not
right,
sure, but
right.
that's something that would come to mind to make it feel more free in terms of using your points
Yeah,
for
I'm going to
vacation
bring up
rentals.
a few other things that occur to me. So, there's a number of points that you can use to book things that are like timeshare condos. So there you'll get multiple bedrooms and everything. And so you can use Hyatt points to book like destination residences. You can use Wyndham points to book various timeshare like properties. You could use choice points for what is it called? Something green. I can't remember what it's called.
Blue green
Blue
vacations,
green.
vacation rentals. Yep.
And then you could use Marriott points, but not to good value to book Marriott homes and villas. So those are just some things that pop in my mind as well.
Yeah, well, and sometimes Marriott Vacation Club properties are available with your
Oh
Marriott
yeah,
points,
yeah.
and
There you go.
sometimes those
Yep,
are condo like. I stayed in a really nice
absolutely.
2 bedroom one in near Disney Paris actually last year. That was a great property actually, potentially good use of free night certificates if you have them. So those come to mind as ways that you could save in terms of vacation rentals and making them feel free. Sort of a cheating answer that I think Josh isn't going to like, but one that I'll throw out there anyway is that I like to look at things like new checking account bonuses as a slush fund for stuff like this. Now it's money, so you're still going to feel like you're spending money, but you open a couple of new checking accounts and pay for the vacation rental with that. It can feel a little bit less like it's digging into your pocket if you can separate in your mind the money that you earned from those checking account bonuses. So that's a potential way. Now, the other thing worth mentioning here is you said, how could you effectively book 2 rooms at a reasonable rate? With various award programs. So there's a few different options that come to mind when you say that, and they're not all the same. One is that we mentioned before, choice privileges often has properties where you can book a suite for the same number of points as a regular room. And I think Steven even found a couple of places with 2 bedroom suites that
Hmm.
you could book, or even 3 bedroom, I think, for the same number of points as a standard room. Along those same lines, Hyatt, you can use points to book a suite or a premium suite. And in some cases, those suites and premium suites can be like 2 rooms that are connected, or at least they'll have enough space for a family quite easily. And I frequently use that technique because I like to have a suite. So that's another one that comes to mind. Hyatt also has what they call the family rate. And now this isn't a way to use points. You'd have to be using that, I guess, checking account bonus money or points that you cashed out to make it feel free to yourself. But they have the family rate where in some cases you can book a standard room and then get half off for an additional room. Now, that's only available at some properties. They don't all have the family rate. But what I did find was that think anyway, when I checked on this a few years ago and I wrote a post about it, you could book an award room for the first room and then pay half the cash rate for the second room. So it's not free, but you could potentially get a more reasonable deal on 2 rooms that way. So you'd have to call Ohio and ask if the family rate's available. I don't know of a code you can search on the website for that. I think you just have to call Hyatt and ask if the particular property you're interested in has the family rate. So those are some things that come to mind. I think that gives you a few options anyway, right, Josh? I
I think
hope
that, yeah, I
that's
think
pretty
that does
good.
a good job of giving some
Okay.
options to start digging into. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We enjoyed this week's episode. We hope you did too. And if you enjoyed it listening to it this week and you'd like to get more of this stuff in your email inbox each day or each week, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Again, that's frequentmiler.com/subscribe. You can join our email list, follow us on all the various social media. We're on Instagram. We have our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group that you can join where you can ask and answer questions all the time about this stuff. So do all of those things wherever you're watching this show. Please like it, give us some feedback, subscribe, enable notifications. All of those things help our channels out. So we appreciate that. And we will see you guys again next week.
Yep. Bye, everybody.